Open my eyes, greet the new day. Take a deep breath, look up and pray. Then I give thanks, look in the mirror, and a friend looks back at me. A smile lights up my face, and I know that I am blessed, 'cause I expect the best. I expect the best. Do 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 do. I know that I'm loved right where I am. I know I'm enough just as I am. All that I want, all I desire is now waiting here for me. The universe conspires to ensure my happiness, so I expect the best. I expect the best. Do 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 do. I expect the best of every passing moment, every single day. Do 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 do. I'm loving my life, living my dreams, losing my fears, spreading my wings, feeling alive, anticipating what the future holds for me. And I can't wait to see what's gonna happen next, 'cause I expect the best. Do 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 do. I expect the best. Do 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 do. Expect the best.
I expect the best. How about you? Do you expect the best? Absolutely. And we know the best is always there for us, awaiting us. And why is that?
There's only one presence and one power.
That's right. As we have in our opening statement, if you'll say it with me together, there is only one presence, one power, and one activity. God, the good, omnipotence. So there can only be the best if we keep our consciousness open for it. And as we say the prayer for our church, keeping in mind our church mission, which is to love the soul, to light the mind, to lift the heart, and to heal the body. Our prayer for our church together, please. Bless the work of our church, O Lord. Let our ideals be true. Let our efforts be helpful. Let our words be filled with healing. Let our attitude be joyful. Let the stranger find true welcome and remain as friend. For the Father draws his beloved to this place in his name. Let love and understanding among all people establish peace in our world. Father, Mother, God, we thank you. And now, as you hold in mind a person or two people, I'll be holding Reverend Rebecca and her family in my mind as they go through this time of transition. But as we hold someone else in our mind and we say the prayer for others, let's do so not being attached on an outcome that we defined for them, but instead seeing them, knowing who they truly are, the powers they have, that they truly have, and seeing them when they come to that which they are seeking, which is theirs to do. So together, as I behold the Christ in you, I see you happy, healthy, prosperous, loving, and beloved, going forth joyously to meet your good. And now, as we join together in singing the hymn, which is always on the back of our cream-colored sheet.
Okay, I got a little overzealous. There's only 2 times we sing. There's at least 100 ways. It's like, I guess there's 200 ways, 400 ways, just 100
We're
ways.
going to do it 400 times? Okay, 2 times. Okay.
There are at least 100 ways my good is coming to me. There are at least 100 ways my good is coming to me. There are at least 100 ways my good is coming to me. There are at least 100 ways my good is coming to me. At least 100 ways for me to receive. I embrace my good, and I do believe. There are at least 100 ways my good is coming to me. There are at least 100 ways my good is coming to me. At least 100 reasons for me to believe, and countless blessings that I now receive. There are at least 100 ways my good is coming to me. There are at least 100 ways my good is coming to me. My good is coming to me. My good is coming to me.
Well, good morning. Good to see all of you here in the sanctuary. And I don't see our virtual people, but we're so happy to have all of you, family and friends of Unity Church of Christ. I am Stephanie Bush-Mann, and I'm the licensed Unity teacher here for our beloved church. And so it is my honor today to share the message with you. And before we do, we have a number of announcements. You know, once you get into spring, things start moving again. And so you will see them in your bulletin, also the e-blast that hopefully everyone is getting. And if you're not, if you'll call the church, we'll put you on that list. But to name a few of the things or to share them, do know that we were going to have the Creating Our Shared Vision next week, but that has been postponed and a new date will be set. Next Sunday, March 15th, at the end of our service, there will be the board installation. So our new board comes in. So we do hope that you will be joining us. This will be our 2026 Board of Directors. Now, also on April 1st, which is a Wednesday, on Zoom at 7:00 p.m., there will be a spiritual communion service. And as I said, that will be on Zoom. It will not be in person. But this is when you're being asked to have a candle, a piece of bread, a small glass of grape juice or wine, and a finger bowl of water and small hand towel. And we will be going forth to represent the Last Supper. And so we are asking people to please log into Zoom no later than 5 minutes prior to 7:00 p.m. so that as we have this sacred memorial that it will be able to go forth without interruption. And then 2 days later, can you believe we're talking about April now, it will be April 3rd, which is that Friday, and that is our Good Friday service. It will be from noon until 3:00, both in person as well as on Facebook. And this is when we will look at the crucifixion and also have the sacred meditative services based upon the 7 last statements of Jesus. So you can come here, which we'd love if you do, and you can come in and you can leave as you wish. And of course, we'll just do it silently in order to preserve the sacred moment. And then 2 days after that is April 5th, and that is Easter Sunday and Children's Egg Hunt. And that will be at 10 o'clock, and the service will be in person and on Facebook. And of course, the Easter egg hunt will be in person. And so if you're going to have children coming who will be looking for the eggs and all the goodies, please do let us know by either calling the office or signing up in the narthex. And might as well remind us, April 11th, Saturday, 9 to 12. Can you believe it? We are coming into spring, and it is time to take care of the grounds. You know, we're supposed in the Northeast here be, 60s and 70s this week. I'm ready. I'm ready. So we have all of that. And so there's other things that, as I say, if you're on the e-blast, you'll see it. And if not on the e-blast, then please just contact the office so we can let you know about that. And I believe that's it for the announcements for now. And we are going to sing the Lord's Prayer, and it will be followed by the daily word reading. And the Lord's Prayer is on your statement if you don't.
The prayer is on the back of the 5 tenets or the 5 principles in your bulletin if you need it. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And leave us not in temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. Today's daily word is expectations. And our affirmation is, I live each day in the spirit of joyful expectation. And you can find this affirmation on the inside cover of your bulletin. Let's affirm it together. I live each day in the spirit of joyful expectation. Mine is an expectant soul. I have learned that good is ever at hand, and when the day dawns, I awake with renewed expectation. As I live expecting the good I desire, I fulfill the condition of belief, for when I expect a thing or condition, that is the same as believing that it has been granted as I request it. Whatever I ask of God, I expect to receive. I believe I receive it, for he has promised that I shall receive it, and in truth, it is already mine. Since I live in this expectant attitude, my life is not dreary or monotonous. The newness of every day brings newness of interest. The joy of expectation is mine, and its reward is mine. I find expectation to be creative. It stirs my imagination and inspires me to look beyond the seemingly blank face of the sky into the unmeasured space that contains countless spheres. In doing this, I find new thoughts, God-given thoughts of myself and of his world. Our Bible verse is from Psalm 62, verse 5. My soul, wait thou upon God, for my expectation is from him. And again, our affirmation is, I live each day in the spirit of joyful expectation.
And thank you, Missy. I live each day in the spirit of joyful expectation. Do you? Be honest. Do you awaken every morning with joyful expectation? And why not? We know we have a choice, right? And that when we live from consciousness, it may not always, it was a little hard for me this morning when the time changed. I can't say it was joyful expectation as I awakened at like 3 o'clock, 3:30, afraid to go back to sleep. And of course, what? You do go back to sleep 30 minutes before you have to get up. So, but we have this choice. And I'm so glad Missy has included now the 5 unity principles for us to always see. Because, you know, this is the essence of unity. And so often we forget what they are. And I think that as we go through today's lesson and all lessons, we'll begin to see how these integrate in our life. So for those of you who have been joining us the last few weeks, you know, we have been looking at the Lazarus Blueprint. And this is the Ancient Secrets for Healing and Inner Peace by Mary, Alice, and Richard Jafolla. And it's really interesting because they're establishing several steps on how we can heal ourselves and get inner peace, how we can live our lives even more fully and in a better way. And I love the way they've been taking the story of Lazarus and looking at it metaphysically, but then also taking those teachings from it that we can each use for ourselves, if we choose to create our best lives. And that's what I love about unity and looking at the Bible in this way, taking those underlying meanings. So the literal, the historical is a beautiful story, but then what does it mean to me today? So just to bring us all up to date for where we are with the story of Lazarus so far, Lazarus was the brother of Mary and Martha, lived in Bethany, and he became extremely ill. So who did they call? That's right, it's the early morning. I know we have to get involved together or nobody's gonna get that snooze on me, right? To Jesus. Call Jesus, send a message to Jesus, because you know you couldn't pick up the telephone, you couldn't send a telegram, so someone had to go to Jesus and say, we need you to come. Because even though it looked like Lazarus was going to be deathly ill, Mary and Martha still felt that Jesus could help him. So Jesus gets word, and what does Jesus do? Does he jump on a camel or whatever and start going? What did he do?
He waits 2 days.
Right, he stopped. He stepped back, and he focused on some other things. And then, 2 days later, he did go to Bethany. So he got to Bethany 4 days after he was aware that Lazarus was ill. What had happened to Lazarus during this time?
He's put in the tomb.
Yeah, he was put in the tomb. Missy knows it all now.
I read the book.
I know, right? I know. But also we talked about this. So yeah, the book is excellent too if you read it, but if not, so he was in the tomb. He had been dead for 4 days. And in front of the tomb was basically what? A cave, a big cave. And they said a stone was in front of it. So I envisioned that stone was more of a boulder because it had to be big enough to cover the opening of this cave. And the opening had to be large enough so that people could take another corpse into this tomb. And so it was enclosed. So Jesus arrives, and all the people around there, what were they saying? Were they saying like, "Oh, we're so glad you're here. We know you're going to help us. This is all going to be okay"? What do you think? Where were you? You coulda, woulda, shoulda. If you had come, you could have. It's too late. You know, we don't want to open the tomb. He's gone, he's dead. It's going to be an odor. And so they were basically like, we don't want to deal with it. So that's the literal story, beautiful story. But we also like to look at this from the metaphysical aspect. And some of the metaphysics have already been shared with us the previous 2 weeks, but I just want to get us back to that. So we know with metaphysics and unity, we look at all places and people. All of this is about our state of consciousness. And what do I mean when I say consciousness? I know we use the word consciousness all the time, but what do we mean by consciousness? What you think, how you see the world, how you perceive it, what actually informs your thoughts, your words, your feelings, your beliefs, all of that. Because we see things differently, right? And so our consciousness, we know in unity that the way you change your life is through the transformation of your consciousness. So looking at all of these various people and places as states of consciousness, Bethany represented a state of consciousness where we may have an issue that we're working with, a conflict, and we've not quite gotten to that spiritual awakening, but we're ready. You ever been there? You've been dealing with something for a while, and finally you're ready, like, Lord, please help me. You know, you're ready to do it a different way. So that's what we have with Bethany. The tomb represents a closed mental state where our life or possibility is buried. So this tomb in our life may be something that we've wanted to do, something we've wanted to release, but we haven't. So we kind of buried it, right? It could also sometimes be an issue where we want to live freely, but we can't because we just can't. We just, can't do it, won't do it. The stone or the boulder. This represents why we can't or won't do it. Because the stone and boulders are hardened feelings of beliefs. I can't, I wish I could, it's too late, I'm too young to start my business, I'm too old to go back to school, I'm too afraid to do this. That's that stone, and we all create it. So Lazarus represents dormant divine life within the individual current difficult situation and part of me who needs to be restored. So the Lazarus in me is that there's something I need to heal, something I need to restore within me. Now Jesus, we know, the man, the human being Jesus, we see in unity as a way shower, a teacher, someone who showed us the way to he got to his fullest Christhood. And we know see him as that teacher to enable us to do so also. But when we're looking metaphysically, we see Jesus as representing that higher state of consciousness that we can all have, that individuality that we are in our Christ consciousness, how we uniquely express our spiritual being, our highest nature. And death is simply spiritual inactivity or a belief in the separation of God. And we say a belief in the separation of God because even in our opening statement, we said there's one presence and one power. And that power is good, and omnipotence means all powerful, right? So not just powerful, but all power. So if we are one with that power and we think we can't do something, then we are developing a separation within our minds that we can't do it. And then Martha was the active, practical one. If you remember the time when Jesus went and he was visiting with Mary and Martha, we had Martha who was doing the cooking in the kitchen and everything, and she began to complain that her sister Mary, who wasn't helping in the kitchen but was sitting at the feet of Jesus getting the lessons, she's like, I'm up here doing all this work. And she's sitting out here doing that. But we know we need to be both active and receptive. So we can see how all of this can represent the different aspects of our consciousness. Now, I also want to remind us, there are like 3 levels of consciousness. And we always have to ask ourselves, which one am I living from? Which one am I reacting from? Which one, am I responding, reacting? Am I being who I truly am? So one of them, what would we say is the first level of consciousness?
Consciousness.
Sense consciousness. They're all consciousness, but the first level is sense consciousness. So what is sense consciousness?
See, feel, touch.
Right, it's our 5 senses, our 5 human senses, smell, touch, all of this, seeing, and for those, it's amazing. You know, some people will say from my seeing, sense consciousness, if I see it, I believe it. Well, if you are reading the book, it's interesting because I didn't know how little we actually see because of infrared and this and that we basically are not seeing everything that's there. And I can know that from a fact that also with the sense consciousness, that's where we're getting all of this information from the outside. And we then bring it in and synthesize it, which brings us up to our next level, which is human consciousness. So that means when we are also using our human intellect. So it's not just about I saw it, but our human consciousness is how we process it in our minds. That's a reason why, say, as an attorney, been to court and can have 2 people who were witnesses on the stand who were basically in the same place at the same time and looked at an event. And they saw it differently. And they're telling their truth as they know it. Because when we're using our human consciousness to process that which we saw, we heard, we smelled, touched, we are using the experiences that we've had in our lives to process that information that then determines what we see. And then our goal is to get to our Christ consciousness. That is our highest level of living. That is when we get to another plane. So often we may get stuck at that human consciousness. How many of us feel that we can figure most things out? You take your list, you write them out, right? You know, you've got this. I know I'm a list person, a to-do and all this. But have you ever found that you may get to a point where you just have to let go and let God? That's getting into that spiritual consciousness. That's getting from our plane of humanness and finally releasing to that level of Christ consciousness, where we are not necessarily attached to the outcome, but we know divine order will work, and we have to get out of our way, but we still have to do the work. So we talked about the first 2 steps, to turn away, as Jesus did when he first got notice that Lazarus was very ill. And that means don't put negative, quick, emotional energy into an issue you're dealing with. Step back a minute. I know there are times I may get some news and all of a sudden I have to jump into action and I'm just running all over the place because the emotions are in there. And then when I step back, even if it's 5 or 10 minutes, I start realizing, whoa, slow this train down. I'm going too fast, I'm going from emotions, but then I'm also feeding that anxiety. And you know, it is amazing because our cells, every cell of our body picks up that anxiety, picks up our feelings, our beliefs. Even now, scientific research and spirituality have come together, where science, I would say, has finally arrived to the point where they can do scientific research about the biology even of beliefs, but how our cells are impacted, which goes back to even Myrtle Fillmore, co-founder of Unity Movement, how when she had tuberculosis, she said, I am a child of God, I do not inherit illness. And by doing that with those thoughts, those affirmations, and nurturing that belief, the cells of her body healed themselves. Removing the stone, that's getting rid of the roadblock that we have placed in our own way, that we have to overcome in order for us to overcome that which is in the way. It may be an attitude, a habit, a belief, an experience, but we have to move it away before we can live in wholeness. But first we have to find it, right? We have to identify it. And then it's our higher self that'll take away the stone of fear, unforgiveness, we talked about that last week with Reverend Lori, or hate. But we have to take action. We have to take action. So this third step that we're talking about today is great expectations. It's what we have to do before the stone can be removed. So we've stepped back, we've calmed down, we've identified what the issue is that we've created, and now we have to do another step. So with all of this, we see, even in the background of the story, all of the people, the folks who were saying, you can't do it, oh, he's dead, don't open that tomb, it's going to be a stench, and all of this is all done. They were responding. They were responding from their sense consciousness, and probably a lot with their human consciousness. They knew from the sense consciousness and human consciousness Lazarus had died. It was 4 days ago. And using what they knew from the past was there would probably be an odor and there would be nothing else that can be done. But Jesus told them, move the stone anyway. Because see, Jesus was coming from a higher level of consciousness. Jesus had gone above the human and the sense. And he was being very patient, because he was telling them what to do, and they're like all over the place. You ever hear yourself? You ever hear that inner voice within you telling you to do something? But your mind is, oh, no, you can't. Oh, no, go do all of the craziness up there. Do you ever allow your inner voice, that quiet inner voice, to say, be quiet to all of that? All the time. One way that I do it is by saying, peace. Be still. That's a way of saying, get out the way. Get out of the way of myself. So we see in John 11, verses 40 through 41, Jesus said, when they're all telling them, can't do it, too big, woulda, shoulda, you shoulda come earlier, he said, did I not tell you that if you would believe, you would see the glory of God? So they took away the stone. I'm going to say that again. Did I not tell you that if you believe, you would see the glory of God? So they took away the stone. So what we see here is Jesus representing the higher self, the highest level of consciousness, the Christ consciousness. By Jesus stepping in, that voice, that inner power and strength and wisdom we have, led to a shift in consciousness from human and intellectual consciousness to Christ consciousness. And all of the limitations were released. All of the fears were gone. The glory of God means divine manifestation. So basically, Jesus was saying, let go of all that you know. Know who you truly are. Know who highest energy that works in, through, and as you. Know what that is. Get out of your own way. And in doing that, it changed everything. And the stone was moved. So what was important is Jesus didn't listen to all of those folks. He just walked through and said, move the stone. And Jesus was human too, right? So I can imagine he was getting a little like, I'm done with this. I told you to move the stone, right? But he was very peaceful in it. So when you say be peace, that's one of my affirmations. Be peace, be peace. But why is expectation important? Why is it important? Because whatever we expect, we are generally going to see manifested in our lives. If we expect to be ill, I don't feel well, I can't get better, it's just because of my age, it's just because of this or what are you expecting? Illness. What are you likely going to see? Aches and pains and illness. If, like Myrtle Fillmore, I am a child of God, I do not inherit illness. What are you going to see? I expect that I will see that I will be able to live as fully as I can. As fully as I can. Because whether you are expecting the negative or the positive, it's like, I think it was Henry Ford said, the man who says I can't and the man who says I can, they're both right. because it's what you expect, because then you tend to work towards that, right? And you attract that which you are seeking. And expectation is also great expectation, positive expectation, can also be considered as one of our 12 powers. And which power is that? Faith. Faith. Yeah. So great expectation is our power of faith, and we know how powerful that is. You know, I always like that when I am going to share a lesson, to really look into my life and how it has shown up. And it is amazing. I don't believe in coincidences. I believe in divine order. So I have something to share that just happened this past week. I am blessed to share unity teachings and principles at two state prisons in New Jersey. And one of them is a women's facility, which is a 2.5-hour drive from my house. And so it means I drive 2.5 hours, I'm there for 2.5 hours, and I drive back for 2.5 hours. But I've actually been cheating a bit because my husband Ken's been driving me on Mondays when we go. But this past Monday, he wasn't going to be able to go. Now, I had asked him, you know, to do this for me because I had placed in my mind a rock, a boulder, that I'm going to be so nervous driving up. You know, first it's like the back roads, I'm good with that. Then you got to get on the highway. 65 miles an hour is the minimum, you know, and the trucks and the craziness. Then at the last part, you're all in the mountains, sometimes on the edge going. So I had created this boulder that I would be a nervous wreck driving myself. But as I prepared for this lesson starting last week, I said, if you're living what you're going to be sharing, what will it mean? What is your rock? What limitation, self-imposed, are you putting on yourself? I am instilling this fear that I can't do it. And I've been driving for up to 10 years and only got one warning ticket, which was a few weeks ago, and I had to laugh that I was speeding. All the times I tell Ken, don't speed. I told the state trooper, I said, I can't believe it. But anyway, but I had self-imposed this limitation. So I began to sit in meditation and prayer with denials of, I release all fear of driving, and replacing it immediately with an affirmation that I will enjoy the trip. And I just kept doing that. And then also, when I would think of doing it, I would also just smile a little. Because you know, they also say that when you smile, how that activates so many of the muscles in your body, but it also your whole mood. And so then, early the morning I was leaving, Kim was like, you know, maybe I should go. And I said, nope, I'm going to do this. I felt so comfortable that entire ride. I enjoyed, not at no point did I become nervous. And as life has it, I realized that Audible would play through my car, and I was listening to Dr. Ellen Davenport with the 5 principles, particularly the first one, as she's reading it to me. Because I had already said that if I got nervous, I would just remind myself there's only one presence, there's only one power, and that's God. So by doing this, Audible and Reverend Ellen Davenport, they became an angel, but I saw what I believed. And I didn't say, I hope I'll be okay, because if I hope something, is that believing it? Doubt, right? That's one of that fudge this way, fudge. That's like one foot on part of, yeah, no. It's really an expression of fear. So with this, I don't say hope. I knew I was going to enjoy it, and I did. And so for me, it was my way of hearing Jesus say, did I not tell you that if you would believe, you would see the glory of God. And so I moved away the stone. And notice it didn't strain. I didn't have to force it. It wasn't painful. Because what had I changed? What had I changed? My thoughts, which changed my consciousness. And that's what moved away the stone. So what I'd like us to do for the next few minutes, let's kind of just get comfortable. And let's go within, each of us in our own way, and have a gentle move into a time of quiet reflection. And if it feels comfortable for you to close your eyes or lower your gaze, your feet planted firmly on the floor, your back supported by your chair, and just feel comfortable. Take a slow breath in and then gently release it. Another slow breath in and release it. Allow your body to settle. Allow your mind to soften. And bring your awareness to the presence of life, spirit, energy within you. Feel the gentle rhythm of your breath. Feel the gentle awareness that you are here, alive, present. This life within you is the very presence of the divine, of God, spirit, divine life. Feel it, know it, believe it. Now imagine the scene described in the scripture. You're standing near Bethany, and before you is a cave, a tomb with a stone, a boulder, placed across the entrance. This tomb represents something in your life that may feel closed off, something that remains dormant. Is it a situation that feels uncertain or unresolved? Perhaps it's a concern about health, a relationship, a decision, or a dream that has not yet unfolded. Simply notice it. There's no need to judge it. Just observe. Now notice the stone at the entrance. The stone represents a belief, a thought, or a fear that has been blocking the flow of life. Perhaps it is the belief that something is impossible. Perhaps it is an old habit of doubt. Perhaps it is a memory that is hardened into limitation. Just allow yourself to recognize what this stone represents to you. In the story, the people standing around the tomb were focused on appearances. They said, Lazarus has been dead 4 days. Their thinking came from sense consciousness. I'll believe it when I see it. Some may have moved to human consciousness. I hope something would happen. But Jesus came forth and stood in a different awareness. He stood in Christ consciousness. He knew the divine life was already present. He knew that life, love, potentiality cannot truly be buried. Now imagine hearing the words he spoke. Did I not tell you that if you would believe, you would see the glory of God? Allow those words to gently echo within you. Did I not tell you that if you would believe, you would see the glory of God? The glory of God is simply divine life revealing itself. It is the manifestation of wholeness, harmony, possibility. So now shift your awareness, your consciousness into great expectation, not hoping, not wondering, but quietly knowing that your stone will move. Silently affirm within yourself, divine life is already at work. Divine wisdom is guiding me. New possibilities are unfolding even now. Feel that certainty, that calmness settle into your mind and body, because expectation does not strain. Expectation simply knows that life is always seeking expression through, in, and as you. So see your stone being rolled away. You don't have to struggle. The stone simply begins to move. And as it moves, you affirm, I release the beliefs that limit my awareness of life. I release fear. I release doubt. I release the belief of appearances are final. The stone moves and light begins to appear inside the tomb.
You can look to the stars for your next encrypted clue. You can stand idly by, waiting for someone to tell you what to do. But you will wait, and you'll hear nothing. You'll be mystified as to what went wrong. But when you wait, I know that something will make you realize before too long that it is beautiful if you make it so. God is with you all the time, and it is wonderful if you let it flow. You'll know joyfulness in time. You are searching for your destiny. You to be free. It will happen once you finally know that you and God alone will make it so. Sometimes it's hard to look inside and figure out what's going on. It can be hard to decide what is right for you and what is wrong. But after all, God created you and knows what you dream of getting out of your life. And after all, it's not just the lucky few who will manage to see God's light. And it is beautiful if you make it so. God is with you all the time. And it is wonderful if you let it flow. You'll know joyfulness in time. You are searching for your destiny. You are looking to be free. It will happen once you finally know that you and God alone will make it so. 'Cause you've got the gift of life, and it's better to decide to make the most of every day. Just think yours is the gift of life. It's in your hands to do it right, and all the while God knows the perfect way. And it is beautiful if you make it so. God is with you all the time. And it is wonderful if you let it flow. You'll know joyfulness in time. You are looking for your destiny. You are looking to be free. It will happen once you finally know that you and God alone will make it so.
And as we know that I, you, and God alone will make it so, let us remember that also Jesus said, move the stone. Jesus didn't do it for the people. He made them do it themselves. And so when we say, how do I do all of this? Take with you these 5 unity principles to remind yourself. We move our stone by knowing there's one presence, one power, and that's God. Good. We know that by saying, I am one with God. We also do this with our third way of looking at our thoughts. What consciousness am I living from? What am I thinking? We begin to identify our stone, then we go into the fourth in prayer and meditation with denials or releasing that which does not serve us and replacing it with the truth of who we know. And the fifth one, we don't sit back. Jesus didn't say, hey, I'll move it. It was do that which is yours to do in your thoughts, your words, your beliefs, and your actions. And next week, come back for the fourth step, which will be gratitude. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And so now we will have the opportunity to share in our generosity and our abundance. And I just want to take a moment before we say the affirmation of abundance together to remind us, all of us, and now I put my hat on as the president of the board for the next few days. We love coming to this church, having beautiful music, being able to be in communion, and even to look virtually and to just grow. And we know that just as a seed and a plant, as we're coming into spring, we have to nurture and feed it with our time, talents, and our treasures. So that which we love and believe in, we nurture and we support as best we can. And so together, if you will say the affirmation of abundance with me, first the way it's read, and then using a second time the pronouns us and we. Together, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I give and all that I receive. And once again, divine love through us blesses and multiplies all that I give and all that I receive. And we know and see all that we give in any way that we do goes forth to provide for our church home and community, for our personal growth. And even as our light shines brighter, it shines within our community and our world and shares the teachings with all. And so it is. And so now we will sing I Choose Love, right? Followed by the prayer. No, we're not.
It's a peace song day.
I'm going by the bulletin. Okay.
Let there be peace on earth, yes. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as our Father, brothers all are we. Let me walk with my brother in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
And now as we say the prayer for protection together, the light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and where God is, all is well. And I see you going forth this week being willing to stop, identify your stone, believe, don't hope, believe and know and live from faith, and do what is yours to do to move it. And have a wonderful week. Amen.
Change your thoughts, change your life. Change your world with your mind. Change your beliefs, and what you see will follow suit until everything you need's right there for you. For you to make all your dreams come true. Got it. If you want more grace, you've got it. If you want more joy, well, you've got that too. If you want more peace, you've got it. If you want more love, you've got that What you need to know is that it's all up to you. 'Cause you can change your thoughts, change your life. Change your world with your mind. You can change your beliefs, and what you see will follow suit until everything you need is right there for you. For you to make all your dreams come true. Oh yeah. What I'm simply trying to say is you can have it all your way once you choose to use this power inside. 'Cause there's an infinite supply of life's good for you and I. Once you name it, claim it, and spread it around. 'Cause you can change your thoughts, change your life. You can change your world with your mind. You can change your beliefs, and what you see will follow suit. 'Cause everything you need's right there for you. For you to make all your dreams. You can make all your dreams. You can make all your dreams come true.